This film is based on a true story. A man discovered remains on his property and immediately called the police. Judging by the clothing, the remains belong to Yara, who went missing 3 months ago. Detective Letizia Ruggeri took it upon herself to inform the girl's family. Upon learning that their daughter was found lifeless, Mora Gambarasio and her husband broke down in tears. Letizia couldn't hold back her own tears either. Later, the detective reviewed Yara's diary, who was into rhythmic gymnastics. Yara was a very cheerful and kind girl who trusted people. She was eager to improve her rhythmic gymnastics performance by the end of the year. Today, the tape recorder in the gym broken, and the class stopped. At home, instead of doing homework, Yara wrote in her diary. She looked forward to getting her braces off next week. Yara has a sister and 2 brothers. The family is very close-knit, often joking and laughing together. After asking her mother's permission to take the tape recorder to the gym and promising to be home no later than 6:45 p.m., Yara went. She was contemplating what to give the best friend for her birthday and planned to help organize a party for her. Since the tape recorder reappeared in the gym, classes resumed. Today there's a hip-hop class. Yara would have liked to join, but alas, she doesn't have time for everything. Before the parents missed her, Yara hurried home. Suddenly a white truck stopped near her. Yara quickened her pace, but the truck continued to follow her. Mora tries to reach her daughter but constantly goes to voicemail. So Mora called the gym and asked if anyone had seen Yara. The administrator said Yara left at 6:30 p.m. Mora decided to go to the gym herself, but of course Yara wasn't there. Mora followed her daughter's route while continuing to call her, but it led to nothing. Yara's father, Fulvio, came to the police station and filed a missing persons report on his daughter. At some point, the man couldn't hold back and broke down in tears. Detective Letizia Ruggeri took on the investigation. Apparently, there were no quarrels or scandals in the girl's family, so Yara had no reason to run away. According to cell tower data, Yara's phone was last in use near that gym. Yara's disappearance was reported on the news. Police and volunteers searched for her throughout the city and its surroundings, but in vain. Police conducted a search at the Gambarasio family home for clues. Keba, Yara's sister, opposed the police taking Yara's personal diary, but her father explained that it was necessary. Sergeant Garo reported finding no leads. There were no witnesses either. Garo requested search dogs, but it would take at least 2 days. Letizia thought they should expand the search area. Garo thought that was a good idea. He also shared the opinion that running away from home was unlikely. Everyone described Yara as a quiet girl. The family probably didn't have enemies because they were ordinary middle-class people. Letizia visited the gym where rhythmic gymnastics and dance classes are held, then spoke with all the staff. Every detail is crucial now. The guy who teaches the hip-hop class remembered that on Friday evening, Yara brought the tape recorder and almost immediately went home in a hurry. The girl leading the rhythmic gymnastics class mentioned a white van. For several years, someone in a white van periodically observed the classes, but it has never been possible to figure out who it is. The case generated a lot of press coverage. Letizia was informed that search dogs had already been sent. Police with dogs, accompanied by journalists, set out on the search. Letizia and Sergeant Garo inspected a construction site where the dog smelled something. It seemed logical because there were many workers. Letizia ordered the site to be sealed off, and the documents of all workers were to be checked. For the sake of the youngest daughter, Mora tries to keep herself together, but at night she gives in to emotions. It hurts Mora to see Yara's empty bed. The unknown was the worst part. Fulvio too couldn't sleep. For their family, this was the saddest Christmas. Colonel Vitali arrived to assist with the investigation. Letizia assured that there are no leads. Surveillance camera footage, wiretaps and searches yielded nothing. Friends and colleagues speak highly of the Gambarasio family as hospitable and decent, so there's no reason to suspect they have enemies. Letizia plans to meet the Gambarasio family in person, but only when she has something substantial to say, rather than just offering reassuring phrases. Letizia, who devotes a lot of time to work, has complex relations with her own daughter. After talking to the school teacher, Letizia confirmed that Yara had normal relationships with classmates. Yara liked the most popular boy in the class, but she never told him. She only shared innermost thoughts with her diary. Yara's case is keeping Letizia on her toes, so she doesn't sleep at night. Journalists meticulously follow all details. Continuous searches are conducted in the vicinity. The senator made a press statement, promising that they would soon find Yara and return her to the parents. Letizia reported to the superiors, saying there are no leads, but search dogs led them to the construction site. Perhaps Yara is somewhere there. The boss told Letizia that if she needs additional personnel or any further assistance, he will provide it. Letizia assured that she can handle it. Finally, she visited the Gambarasio family's home. The detective honestly admitted that there was no news yet. Letizia inspected Yara's room, although Garo's team had done it before. Letizia asked Yara's parents to recall again if there were any recent disagreements in the family. As before, the couple replied that there was nothing like that. Later, Letizia received a call from Garo, informing her that they intercepted a conversation of one of the construction workers, Mohammed Fikri. He almost openly confessed to the deed. Letizia ordered his immediate arrest. It turned out that early in the morning, Mohammed got on a motor ship and left. The police sent a patrol boat after him. Mohammed was arrested and taken to the police station. He gave statements, insisting it was a mistake. However, detectives had misinterpreted Mohammed's words, and he left not to escape but to visit his family. Moreover, the guy has an alibi. However, Letizia is not quick to trust him. Mohammed was detained pending further investigation. Letizia decided to recheck the transcript of Mohammed Fikri's conversation, but a translator proficient in Arabic was needed for this. All 8 people confirmed that there was no mention of Yara in the conversation. It was a complete failure. Outraged crowds gathered on the streets, demanding the police punish someone. The superiors were disappointed and ordered Letizia to put more effort into the investigation. The senator gave an interview, calling Letizia Ruggeri an incompetent detective. Soon Letizia learned that signatures were being collected against her, but she is not going to back down. Letizia often thinks about Yara and wants only one thing: justice for this girl who had dreams and hopes for the future. Every time Mora hears the phone ring, she runs to it hoping for good news. Neither Mora nor her husband understand what to say to their children. When the daughter didn't return home from school on time, Letizia almost went crazy. But in reality, the girl just got hungry and went to buy a bun. Mora and Fulvio gave interviews, addressing whoever took Yara from them. The couple hopes that whoever it is will show mercy and return Yara to them. No one knows that there is no hope for Yara anymore. That white truck took her away forever. The investigation has reached a dead end. There are no witnesses or any evidence of abduction. Yara simply disappeared quietly. Letizia has a theory that someone stopped near Yara and offered her a ride. Perhaps Yara agreed because she was running late. This means it was someone familiar whom she trusted. It's not ruled out that this person might be participating in the search and mocking the police right now. The search continues, with many volunteers involved. Everyone is trying to do everything possible. Letizia and her colleague made a statement to the press, refuting some rumors about the police's incompetence. And the fateful day arrived when the body was found. 3 months of searching came to an end. Adjacent to this location is a nightclub. Perhaps the criminal frequents there. A team of specialists is working at the crime scene. Fulvio also arrived to see everything with his own eyes. It's incomprehensible to him that someone is capable of such a thing. Letizia cannot live peacefully with the thought that the criminal is still at large. Letizia also has a daughter, so this case has become something personal for her. At night, Letizia doesn't sleep, reading Yara's diary and crying. The next day, Letizia read aloud the report received from the forensic expert. Apparently, the fatal outcome resulted not from inflicted injuries but from hypothermia. The motive of the criminal remains unknown. Letizia suggests that the criminal is inexperienced because he stopped and didn't follow through. Perhaps he got scared. It's possible that he will try to do it again. Soon Letizia received a call from the expert, informing her that foreign DNA was found at the crime scene. Currently, it can be said with confidence only that the criminal is of Indo-European descent, meaning he is local. In the US, it's simpler because there is a DNA database, but in Italy there isn't. So they have the DNA now but no specific suspect. Letizia intends to start searching and comparing the DNA sample with everyone who had contact with Yara. That way, they'll create their own database. It's a reverse investigation, which is something new in forensics. The superiors were skeptical about this idea because it's costly, but Letizia presented compelling arguments. DNA was voluntarily collected from hundreds of people. Among them was a guy named Damiano. Soon a sample matching the original by 50% was found. Probably it is a relative of the criminal. This means the police are on the right track. Damiano, whose DNA matches, was called in for questioning. The guy was puzzled when explained that he is a relative of the criminal. The expert explained to Letizia that apparently Damiano and the criminal share the same father. Damiano's brother and sister were already checked and are not involved. So it's about a fourth brother born out of wedlock. Since Damiano's father passed away many years ago, detectives talked to his wife. She said it's impossible because her late husband couldn't have had affairs. But Letizia is of a different opinion and asks the woman for permission to take some belongings of her late husband. The woman doesn't mind, but she washes all his clothes every week, as if he's still alive. Therefore, extracting DNA is not possible. Then Letizia asked if Giuseppe's driver's license was still there. It was, and experts were able to extract DNA, confirming that Giuseppe is the father of the criminal they are looking for. This served as the basis for the exhumation of the body. Detectives spoke at a press conference. The Gambarasio family closely followed the news. Letizia announced her intention to take DNA samples from all women in the city. The senator is unhappy that such vast resources are being spent on a case led by Letizia Ruggieri. However, the case has not progressed. Letizia understands that she will be removed from her position. She only hopes that those who come after her can solve this case, if they have time. The deadline is approaching, and soon the case will be archived. Garo is one of the few who still believes in Letizia. One day, a professor came to the police station and requested a private meeting with Detective Letizia Ruggieri. The professor explained that one of the lab workers discovered a very rare gene in the criminal's genome, which was not inherited from the father. This means they should look for a woman with such a gene, and very soon there was a breakthrough in the case. Experts found the mother of the criminal 3 weeks before the case was to be archived. It was the miracle Letizia had hoped for. The woman's name is Esther Bassetti. She has 3 children. The youngest no longer lives here. There are also twins, a boy and a girl. The guy is called Massimo Giuseppe Bassetti. He is 41 years old, a carpenter. The police have already established surveillance. 4 years have passed since Yara's disappearance. Bassetti is unaware of being under surveillance and lives an ordinary life. He has a wife and children. One day when Letizia attended her daughter's artistic rhythmic gymnastics, she received a call from Garo, who had studied data from cell towers. It turned out that on the day of Yara's disappearance, Bassetti's phone was in the vicinity of the gym. Upon hearing this, Letizia felt relieved. Under the pretext of taking an alcohol test, the police stopped Bassetti. This is how they obtained his DNA, which matched the sample found at the crime scene. Letizia already had an arrest warrant. Right now, the police's main concern is to be there before the press. Bassetti was arrested right at work. Letizia informed Mora about this. Bassetti works on the same construction site where Fulvio works as a surveyor. Yara might have known him, so she wasn't afraid. Mora just wants to know why Bassetti did it. Letizia promised to find out no matter what. A search was conducted at Bassetti's house. This case was in the spotlight of journalists in the entire country. The court hearing will be closed due to instances of public misbehavior. The first court hearing took place. Bassetti denied his guilt. Letizia acted as the prosecutor, asking the defendant questions he couldn't answer. Data from cell towers and DNA analysis pointed to Bassetti. Surveillance camera recordings were presented in court. Despite irrefutable evidence, the defense lawyer continued to insist on Bassetti's innocence. The court took a break. Bassetti's wife, Mari, directly asked him if he did it. On that fateful day, he did come home much later than usual. Bassetti continues to deny everything. Mari doesn't know what to believe anymore. The court hearing continued. Listening to the reconstruction of the evening when Yara disappeared, her parents couldn't contain their emotions. Letizia insisted on the harshest sentence for Bassetti, considering all the circumstances of the case. Yara's family had been waiting for several years for justice to prevail for their daughter. And finally the time had come. The judge read the verdict, relying on the jury's decision. Bassetti was found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment. Despite this, Letizia felt an emptiness inside. She would have wished for Yara to come home, but that would never happen. In the final scene, we see Mora and Letizia exchanging sad smiles.